afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What the Why with Barbara Ann in our new RVN TV location. If you haven't seen us before, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they figured things out. Maybe you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or you feel stuck and you want to get unstuck in your business, job, or life. All of our guests have something in common with you. At some point in their lives, they felt similarly, and they decided to do something about it. And today is no exception. Please join me in welcoming Joy, published author and founder and CEO of Be the Difference Clothing. Joy, who's also another Jersey girl, describes herself as someone who, and I quote, "Life has gifted some twists and turns, but through it all, she's survived." She never realized being an author was a possibility until she took what she thought was a challenge, which led to her writing 5 books. It's a glorious story best told in person, and here she is to share it live and in person. So as she would say, stick around and get to know her, the company she founded, Be the Difference Clothing, and the inspiration that birthed the thought-provoking quotes that appear on her products. I'm so excited to have her live and in studio with us. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Joy to our show. So yay! Hi, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
I'm so
Same.
I know we've had some conversations like, oh my gosh, I finally get to meet the right person. Because sometimes when you connect with people, it's like, I feel like I've known this person for like ever, and I was supposed to meet this person. So, of course, I haven't known you forever.
Right.
And one of the very first questions that we ask every guest on our show is, recognizing all of the things that have led you to where you are now. What did you want to be when you were little, when you were growing up?
Not too far from where I'm sitting right now. I wanted to be an actress. Yes, okay. I wanted to be an actress. But the crazy thing is, I was very shy. So the two didn't really mix. But I believe that was probably a safeguard because maybe I wasn't ready to take that leap of faith into the position that I've been blessed with right now. Mm-hmm. Everything takes stages, and I am thankful that I finally was able to reach that point in my life where I said yes, So I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful. Awesome. And the journey is ongoing, and I just want to tell everybody, if you are in a position of life where you don't know what your purpose is, please just take time to get to know yourself, Mm-hmm. And we talked about it before, doing that mirror work is very important.
Yeah. So let's dive right into it. So how did you get from, little Joy wanting to be an actress to where you are? Because your journey definitely has some twists and turns.
Absolutely. After the actress thing didn't pan out, I wanted to be a hotel owner. I haven't really told many people that, so you're the first.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. A hotel owner.
I wanted to own. I figured it would be easy. I figured it'd be real easy to own a hotel and operate it. And I didn't do that either. But I ended up being in business. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, I went to college. I got my business degree. But I still had the urge of being in the entertainment industry. Okay. So I went ahead and started doing little side gigs here and there. But the biggest thing, and great things happen when you actually say, I want this, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to be a manager for an artist. So that door actually opened because I was managing a Christian artist for about 2 or 3 years. And once that fizzled out, I decided to go to the gym 7 days a week. And then again, it hit my spirit to say, admit that you go to the gym 7 days a week, but you still come home and snack on Snickers bars, ice cream, you have it. I wrote that on Facebook. A family member said, that should be a t-shirt. I said, okay, and here we are today.
Wow, so that's how Be the Difference Clothing came into existence, which is interesting because be the difference is a phrase I love so much and say. So, so that was the beginning of Be the Difference Clothing, and it's taken off. So let's talk about all of the different things that are under the umbrella of Be the Difference.
One thing is what you see right in front of you. We have the books, but that came more recently. The first thing that came was the T-shirts. The first T-shirt was Work Hard, Snack Harder. And then the second T-shirt was something that really started the company. It was called Addiction Kills the Family. And how that happened, I was driving home from an event, and I was about to turn the corner and saw someone bent backwards. Never ever in my life have I seen anyone bent backwards. Like, we're talking about, this is our face forward, right? But their whole body was back.
Wow.
All the way back to like their calf. Never saw that in my life. So it kind of like broke my heart, because the first thing that I thought about was, I know when they were a toddler, they couldn't have been running around saying, I want to be a professional addict.
Yeah.
And something went, what are you going to do about it? And that's how that shirt came. I was very much so not a public speaker at that time. And I said, my words are something that people always took to heart, and it, you know, usually gets right in the soul of things. And that's when I came up with that. And I wanted to make it very visual. So it was basically like bear claws going through the word addiction kills the family. And it had blood dripping down. Although it was very graphic, it absolutely is a conversational piece, because it leaves it open to various types of addictions. You have substance abuse, you have addiction to porn, you have addiction to working too much, your cell phone, there's so many things. But I believe anything that may take away too much time from family time can be an addiction.
Yeah. Wow. That's so powerful, because those are tough conversations. And your wearable art really triggers those conversations that might not otherwise happen if they weren't forefront.
Absolutely. Like, I was wearing the shirt, I was even afraid to wear my own designs because of how powerful and potent some of those messages are. I was wearing it, and I remember being in the supermarket and someone looking at me like really weird. And I'm like, why are they looking at me weird? But then I realized they were looking at this. They were looking at the message. And that's why I was just saying, we're creatures of absorption. And the more we see something positive or thought-provoking, is the more we start thinking about life in a different way. Maybe that is your time to be like, oh, let me address certain things in my life. Let me go ahead and take the next level. You know, so those are the reasons why I choose clothing.
And you're putting these messages out in a time when so much of what we're bombarded with is anything but positive. How do you, I know you've got a big presence on social media.
Trying.
And I'm one of your new Facebook likes, but I mean on TikTok and stuff. So how do you, it sounds like you're doing your part to kind of combat a lot of that as well. And that takes courage.
It does, it does. But when you take yourself, that ego out of everything, you no longer are you, you're just a vessel. And when you're a vessel, you can be used by God, your creator, your ancestors, whatever you believe in, that is your higher power. You get to be used, and the world gets to experience a little piece of healing, and then they can take that healing that they received and go on to the next person and the next person. It's the domino effect. And when you submit to that, it's like you get rewarded for all of the beautiful things that you do, you know? And because of this journey, I've noticed how beautiful nature really is, and how sustaining it is, and how amazing things are, like how much alive it is. Because I have the time to watch, you know? So I absolutely love that.
So let's talk about the one you're wearing right now, which is honesty equals freedom.
Absolutely.
What inspired that? It's something I'm very very, very passionate about as well. But not to mention, just being honest makes it easier not to have to remember to lie.
Exactly.
Because the truth is the truth. But how did you decide on this particular one and this one today in particular?
Well, I believe at the time of making this, everybody was talking about freedom. Like they want to be free from things and basically trying to be free from, political agendas.
Okay.
But it's not the political agenda that you need to be free from. It's actually being free from yourself. So if you are honest with yourself first, you will be free. That's what I believe, and it worked for me, so it can work for you. So.
Yeah, wow. So let's talk about your books.
Okay.
Which one was first?
This one right here.
Okay. So this book, which is Quotes That Make You Say, "Oh," from Instagram to your hand, part 1.
Yes. So basically, this book right here, remember we were talking about challenges, right?
Yes.
So what happened was, it's an accident how I became an author. I was getting my hair done. We were watching TV, one of the few times I get a chance to watch TV. And one of the women in the salon was like, based off the program we were watching, she was like, more African American women should do writing, so she wasn't talking to me, but I was like, I know you didn't just challenge me to become an author. I was like, I'm not an author, I'm not writing a novel. But then ding, the light bulb hit me again, and it was just like, well, you have been writing quotes on Instagram for a year now, and it's 3 times a day. You've been writing these quotes, and again, being used, allowing yourself to be used by your maker, creator, or whoever, you get these things.
You're a vessel.
Yeah.
You're a vessel.
And this is how all of these books came about.
All right. So we have this one, which is Quotes That Make You Say, "Oh," from Instagram to your hand, which means I guess we probably should put this in order. So where's
This is 1.
Okay.
2 I'm wearing. Guys, here's the thing, right? If you want my part 2 book, it's only available on socks. And
okay.
to make it even more amazing, my socks, there's only 12 pair of any kind. And when they sell out, they're never made again. Goes with the quotes, right? So every time that cycle of socks sell out, those quotes sell out, then I go on. So basically, by the time I'm done putting all of my second book of quotes on socks, I'm discontinuing that book.
Okay.
So only 12 people in the world have different parts of my book, my part 2 book.
Oh, okay. So now I'm gonna have to get some for for Ariel. People, if you remember Ariel from season 1, big sock fan.
Okay.
She loves socks, so I'm definitely gonna have to pick up some socks. She loves socks. She loves quotes. Had no idea. So, and then I love this one too because you've got Quotes That Make You Say, "Oh," from Instagram to your hand, and then you've got the cassette tape reference,
it's the vision board.
B-side.
Yeah, it's the vision board. So basically, when I was writing these quotes, it was all about writing. We were doing a lot of vision boards, and I just wanted to put those quotes because of that content into this book. This is my 3rd book.
Okay.
That book is mostly about love. So if you want to get your little swag back and make somebody feel good, you might want to grab that book.
Yes, still part of the quotes that make you say, "Oh,"
Yep,
from Instagram, part 3, and which is nice because I love how each one has a very unique dedication to it too.
Yes.
The one is for everyone who needs encouragement. One's for people who are uncomfortable sharing, and those who feel misunderstood, and this one is for those who are feeling down and in need of inspiration.
Yep.
So these are awesome.
And my final book is the one right in front of you.
Yeah.
That one is my near and dear to my heart one.
Self-reflections, quotes that make you reflect.
And you see, it's like an image of a mirror.
Yes.
So it's basically looking at yourself, the mirror work, doing that. So all of those quotes, if you want, I can give them a little taste.
I would love that.
Okay.
So
which
please
book?
do.
You pick a book, and then I'll flip through and see which one.
I would
This
say
one?
this
Okay.
one.
All right, so this is what we like to do here. You're just going to, whatever the page stops at, and boom. Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
I'll read both of them. I'm only good at what I do when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one for this.
Just talking about it.
Absolutely.
Yep. And this other one, it says, say it loud and proud. I do not condone nor tolerate the deliberate division of humanity.
Ah! See, when the message is supposed to be shared, it appears two amazing messages, both personally as well as for the world and everything that is going on right now in this crazy world we live in of measurement and competition and the need to dominate and I mean, I can't even use enough descriptives to explain some of the things that are going on in the world. So, what inspired you to take the leap into this? I mean, we've talked kind of around it, but what really was the catalyst?
It's just taking accountability.
Okay.
Just making myself accountable to doing what I say I'm gonna do, you know. And once you hold yourself accountable, you cannot, you can't stop. If you do stop, you're only gonna fall backwards. And I just feel like, because I'm doing this, I'm holding myself accountable daily, and I feel really good. I'm a better person because I know that I have a brand to represent. And if I don't represent that brand, then I'm not doing or being exactly what the difference is.
Wow. Now, when I look at your site, I mean, such a diverse following. I mean, you know, all different groups, ages. Love your work. Where do you see this headed for you?
Oh, it's only gonna get bigger, you know. I'm working on some other parts of clothing. I can't wait for that to be launched. And I would love to, you know, be global. I would love to be able to stand in front of people and share words of wisdom. And I'm not saying that I'm a person full of wisdom, but it's because I submit. I am filled with wisdom. You know, nothing is, I cannot say that anything comes from me. It's because I'm allowed myself to be used is why I may seem so, you know, smart or so strong, you know, filled with wisdom. But it's those reasons. We always have to give account to whose we are and who gives us what we have. You know, so I'm grateful. My life is amazing. And I'm thankful that, you know, God, my creator, my ancestors, my entire team is always with me, and they're always protecting me, always guiding me. And we all have the same team in different parts of our lives. You know, they cater to your life. So I'm just thankful that I recognize that I have a team, and that I recognize that they've been taking care of me all my life. So life really isn't that bad. It's really not that bad. It's just, do you want to learn the easy way, or do you want to go through some troubles and blame everyone else around you? Or do you want to stay somewhere too long where you're not supposed to be? Or are you ready to take that leap of faith?
And that's a great question. And we're going to continue that discussion when we're going to break briefly for our sponsors, and then please stay tuned and come back after the commercial break for more of What the Why with Barbara Ann and today's very special guest, Joy, the other Jersey girl. So. Welcome back to What the Why with Barbara Ann and today's very special guest, Joy. And as we were heading into the break, we were talking about, you know, inspiration and purpose and being the vessel for what we're meant to do. And it's interesting because I've had conversations as part of things I do recently where people who aren't living up to their purpose really are not honoring what they're created to do. You know, regardless of how you believe you got here, each one of us is created a unique and special person with specific gifts and talents. And to not live up to that is really, depending on what your beliefs are, almost blasphemy in some ways for not living into it. And you figured that out. And your company is all about that. So you mentioned the team. Who are some of the people that have really inspired you and uplifted you to go on this journey?
So I have to say a lot of my team are people that I don't see.
Okay.
So could be ancestors that have gone on. I will say the living people, I would say William is one of them. My father, my friend Jennifer, she is definitely very supportive. And I have to also say that my team isn't just them fundamentally. It's like anyone that I get to interact with becomes part of that, because you end up filling a void or filling a part that needed healing. So that's a good thing that you said before, because there are different companies that people I've met from other social platforms. And again, because I followed what I was supposed to do, I ended up, you know, having a podcast myself. And I ended up meeting people who right at this very moment are helping me health-wise. So she's part of my team now too. So shout outs to I am Tracy Lee. But there's two parts to that, part of what you were just saying in the beginning. One, we need to heal. And there's a lot of broken adults in childlike personas, right? So we're here in adult bodies, but we're really kids still. We never got to grow from the trauma that affected us. So once you heal from that, you know, it's always gonna be in the back burner. It's gonna come back in different ways, maybe. But once you heal, you should be able to recognize when it may rise again.
And that's a fantastic point, because a lot of people think of trauma as being an incident. And I think we talked about this. Trauma is not what happens to us. Trauma is how we respond to incidences that happen to us, which is why you can have two people go through the same exact traumatic event and have totally different experiences with it. How one person, you know, overcomes adversity as a child versus another. It's because of how they're processing and stuck in that trauma, which is a huge part of trauma-informed approaches, which is part of your message as well.
And if we never get a chance to address what happened, like a lot of times things happen to us as adolescents and toddlers. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like I'll use me as an example. I have been afraid of dogs. And the reason why I was afraid of dogs is because when I was a toddler, I thought I was running for my life from a dog. Maybe the dog wasn't trying to attack me, but how would I know that? As a kid, I'm running, and then the next thing I know, I jump into my dad's arms. And I'm like, I don't like dogs, you know, I'm like screaming. But he may not have known that was why I was running to him. Maybe in my head, the dog was bigger than what it really was. Or whatever, but that is a trauma that stuck with me. And now that we're talking about it years later, ageless years later, by the way, we're talking about it now, and it's like, that is something that needed to be addressed. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid of dogs now, but that it could be something simple like that. Anything could just change your brain. You know, and if we don't start addressing, that's why it's important for us to do the mirror work, to address ourselves, to look at ourselves. If you can look at yourself in a mirror for more than 5 minutes, then you're okay. But if you can't stand your presence, and it's not your physical presence, it's your spiritual presence, then maybe there's something you need to address.
Which is really interesting, because you and I have some of the, like, the term officially is mirror empath, but when you walk in a certain way and people are really happy, like you and I connected instantaneously, and you know when you're like, oh my gosh, this is like my you know, my quantum entanglement sister. But then there are others that you know, they reflect back. It's like looking in that mirror.
Yes.
And so we reflect back what they also don't like about themselves. So how do you find the balance? Because I know I find myself in situations sometimes too, and it's like, wow, that person had a really extreme reaction and it had nothing to do with what I said, which one of the things I say often is what people say is about them, what we hear is about us. And what we hear about us is often that hurt child, that unresolved trauma that we're still going through.
Let go of the ego. Simple as that. You gotta let go of the ego. You know, if you don't work on or understand what the ego is, you know, that's why I said William, because he you know, kind of taught me different things about ego and your life and just separating all of it through.
Yeah.
So that is definitely something that we all have to take time. You have to let go of the distractions. You know, I know we all, you know, we all have busy lives, but really we don't.
Yeah.
Because we absolutely make time for things that we love and desire.
Yes.
But are you willing to put in the work to heal?
And that gets to the mirror point. You've brought up the mirror a couple of times. So for those who aren't necessarily familiar, let's kind of start to wrap this up in terms of what the mirror really can do,
Right.
in the positive, in terms of helping someone.
So when you look at yourself in the mirror, you should be submitting to allowing God, your maker, creator, or whoever you believe in, to make you WHOLE again, so that you can be and live your purpose. And it's as simple as that, but it takes time.
Yes, it does.
You have to take time. And I am a person who knows that there's things that I have to work on still.
Of course.
You know, I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. But at least I acknowledge and know the tools to get me from point A to point Z, you know, and I'm thankful.
It's all about the journey. So thank you so much. So all of that said, you know, for those who are interested in you, your books, you know, your social media, your handle is BTD LLC and BeTheDifferenceLLC.com. But is there anything else that people should know in terms of, you know, the platforms where you can be or things like that?
Sure. Feel free to follow on all social media platforms. Like you were just saying, the handle is B as in boy, T as in Tom, D as in dog, LLC. If you would like to shop for any of these products, t-shirts that I'm wearing, if you like custom things, I can do that for you too. But go to BeTheDifferenceLLC.com. And more importantly, if you feel like you have come to a point in your life where you just are stuck, just start by doing the mirror work. Start by submitting to God, your higher power, whatever you believe in. Just start by being honest with yourself. And it's okay, because we're all parts of a puzzle. And once you start allowing your maker to put you in the part of the puzzle where you belong, everything starts to flow. Everything starts to become easy. Everything starts to become wonderful.
Wow. So thank you again for being here and finally getting to meet you in person. So, you know, as you've heard from previous shows, we're booked through the rest of the season. We've got lots more amazing guests, both in studio and via Zoom, including other business owners and coaches and authors, a former professional skier. You recently met an ice skater. I mean, and some other folks who've overcome some really seemingly insurmountable challenges. So please believe me when I say you really don't want to miss what any of our guests have to say about their journeys. And also, if you have missed our past episodes, all of season 1 as well as season 2 to date is available on demand on the What the Why page on RVNTelevision.com, as well as on Roku and coming soon to other platforms. You have so many viewing choices these days, so thank you very much for watching our show, and please tell a friend or colleague about us. As a reminder, in terms of live airings, What the Why appears on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on RVNTelevision.com, as well as Roku and others. And also, please remember, whenever you're looking to make changes in your life, no matter how big or small, please join us for more inspirational, informative, enlightening, spiritual conversations with guests such as Joy, who overcame whatever obstacles may have been in their paths to find their core purpose and live it.